So, welcome. Wanted to talk to you about the Esoteric Book Club that we're starting on February 13th, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Coast. And the reason why I'm doing this live today is actually to see if I can get some input as to what books might be interesting. I mentioned Journey of Souls, The Surrender Experiment, The Untethered Soul, The Gnostic Gospels. There are books, there are certain books that are so powerful. They seem benign, but they're so powerful that they actually activate light codes in you. Do you understand? And because they can activate dormant light codes within you, which is shaking up your junk DNA. I'm not joking when I say that, because as you ascend, your body has to follow if you're going to stay in this body. Does that make sense? If you're going to stay in the physical realm, as you ascend, your junk DNA has to follow. It has to be upgraded, activated to follow where your soul is taking your 3D brain. And your 3D brain cannot collapse under the strain of new thought forms and new concepts that you've never actually been able to wrap your head around. And that's easy to understand how that could be intense. I mean, look at yourself now. What you think and feel about life is completely different. It's a 180 from when you were a 5-year-old kid. So it's not like hard to understand how, as the mind is activated, how the mind can actually progress to such a level. And as you go out of 3D into 5D, you're going 3D, which is absolute ignorance, amnesia, no offense. It's not a put down, it's just reality. To 4D, meaning I believe in reincarnation. I believe I've been here before. I believe I've been in other places before. I'm reading esoteric books. I'm trying to figure out who the fuck I am and why I'm here. And then you go into 5D, which is divine unconditional love to yourself, for the rest of your brothers and sisters on this planet, on other planets. It's a massive... It's also on a frequency match to being able to activate the ability to manifest without any... what is the word I want to say? Because I keep getting without any impediments. And the impediments can be you hitting the brakes every fucking 60 seconds. And the concept of not being able to manifest in the moment is very interesting. They're giving me again Yeshua turning water into wine. Yeshua bringing one fish and making many, that kind of thing. Now, was that true? Was that a parable? No, it was fucking true, okay? And this is what people don't understand. You might say, well, that's not possible. That's not logical. Well, let me put it this way to you. There are people on the planet right now, and you can tell them. In fact, you don't have to tell them where you're sick. And I mean seriously sick. We're talking about the big C. And they can literally put their finger on you. And heal you, boom, on the spot. Because they don't have to go through a filtering 3D system of cynicism and rhetoric bullshit and dogma. There are people walking on the planet that can do it. And they have done it. And it's documented. And it's been proven. There are people that can go under surgery with absolutely no anesthesia whatsoever because they control their whole entire system. So it's not a stretch. Do you understand? So the Esoteric Book Club is going to be exploring various types of books to activate your dormant light codes, the codes of ascension, the little backpack of light that you were energetically given before you jumped into the body that you took on to become Jane, Jack, Joe, or Daniel. Does that make sense? And so this is what's happening for you. And so when you read certain books, there's certain books you'll read, nothing happens. It's fucking like crickets. It's like, a straight line. And there are books that's like a fibrillator. It just jump starts your heart chakra and your connection to the divine and brings you back to your true center. So the Esoteric Book Club starts again, February 13th. It's all set. We're going to be looking at various books. We're going to vote on 3 books per 6 weeks, or it depends. I think in the beginning we need to go for maybe smaller bites and more conversations and smaller bites on some powerful books, which we can do easily. And so I'm inviting you. If you're really serious on your journey, you're going to read some books. I really don't like how, and I'm going to be straight up, there are content creators that are saying everything is within you. No shit. But here you are, unable to do a damn thing about it. There are people on the planet that have written books, like Rhonda Burns, that can actually revolutionize people's understanding of themselves and the holographic universe. It took her to put together her book, The Secret, and her show. Now, here's the thing. There are a lot of people that have put down the book thinking it was about money, but knowing when she wrote it in around, I believe it was 2003 or 2002, she wrote it catering to people who needed and wanted money. Because when you tell people you can heal your big C, or you're going to ascend in 2002, 2000, most average people, and you I hope you understand this, because some of you didn't even start waking up until COVID, to be honest. And in 2002, 2003, you wouldn't have probably given a shit about your ascension. I doubt it. Okay, there were a lot of people that didn't give a shit. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that there are people still today that don't give a shit about their ascension. They care about, can I make another $100 million? That's it. That's what they're about. And so, with that said, her book has been put down by people who don't know anything about the steps it took to spoon feed the collective to the awakening. Okay? I couldn't give some of you a book by Zachary Stitchin on the 12th planet 20 years ago. You would have been fucking overwhelmed. You would have said, there's no way this is possible. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's my point. You should know what I'm talking about. I'm being really hard because I'm being real. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't know what this book is about, then therein lies the issue. That means you don't know everything you should know. Because you see, Astral Legends is doing all kinds of shows that he's creating based on Zachary Stitchin's books. Just so you should know this, and you don't, and therein lies the issue. So reading books from people who are long dead, who were exploring things that made them the lone wolf in society, books that are so powerful that they have been blackballed, banned. I'll give you an example. Dr. Joe Dispenza was supposed to do one of his 1 week retreats in France, and he was banned. Okay, now that is an interesting dilemma, isn't it? So that means that what he's saying is frightening the status quo. Which status quo? I don't know. I don't know. Why was it banned? There's nothing he's saying that is not scientifically proven as to what happens when you, for example, do the simplest thing like a meditation, and what happens to the brain waves. And just so you know, I realize that only 4 of you are listening to me. And if I was dancing a new dance, this is not to put down people who dance or whatever, I would have probably 1.4 thousand people listening to me if I was jumping up and down, teaching you a new dance. There's only 144,000 of us at any given time. Trust me when I say that number. I used to think it was metaphoric. I used to think long ago. And now I know it's fucking literally that number. It's 144,000. Oh, some comments in the really, that pisses you off, my little friend? Well, that's too bad. But yeah, there's 144,000 of us, and we are it's a small clutch of people who really actually understand what the ascension mean. These people who are the 144,000 are part of the twin flame, twin ray journey. They are part of the light bringers. They are all of that. They're not separated by, oh, it's this group and that group. No. They encompass light. They encompass knowledge. They encompass light codes that they're bringing to the collective. They encompass the twin flame, the true twin flame, not the bullshit you're seeing out there, and the true twin ray divine couple, the power couple. And power couples are not defined by money, by jet setters, by clothes, by Rolex watches. A power couple is Yeshua and Mary Magdalene walking amongst the people to bring them to a certain sense of self-realization, walking barefooted or sandaled in the dust. Okay, that's a true power couple. For example, and there are power couples that have come and gone and that we personified as the twin flame, twin ray unions, where we had moments of the nectar of being in union with our beloved, and we were hunted down like fucking dogs. We were not safe to be in our full power in union, and quite often we were separated by various situations that were beyond our control. It started in Atlantis. No, actually it started in Lemuria, and before that it started on other planets. And we've been running to take cover for a while, and also to reveal ourselves and reveal our knowledge. And so many of us have issues with our heart chakra, our throat chakra, our root chakra. We have various issues that come from multiple incarnations. Does that make sense? So the reason why the Esoteric Book Club is going to be important for many of you is, one, it creates a community. You get to meet people from, I'm hoping, all over the world. Okay, we're going to have to change the time. Sometimes it's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern Standard. Sometimes, no offense, you're going to have to get up early so that we can get our British people or people from Norway or people from, other parts of Europe to join our Esoteric Book Club. Because we need to hash out multiple ideas from different vantage points, cultures, political structures, infrastructures, and so forth. Where do you sign up? You would go to my Telegram page. It's going to be Telegram because I want you guys to be safe in saying whatever the fuck you want to say. Okay, number one. And so it is on my Linktree, on my profile. And you'll go all the way down and it'll say Starseeds Awakening. And you will drop yourself there. And then tell me, hey, I want to be in your book club. And then I'll add you right away. Somebody just did it and I added them to the book club. We have 13 total. So Phoenix Fire, that's what you do. That's how you sign up. And thank you for coming. The first book is Recall. Why is it Recall? Because it's going to hopefully activate your own twin flame journey. In other words, making you understand how past lives, I don't care if it's 30, in fact, it's said 3,500 years ago, can fuck you up. Like literally 3,500 years later or 10,000 years later. That there's a looping that keeps going on again and again and again into your separation. Right now, I just did a wonderful reading with a divine masculine who's going through a massive search. He's not in a twin flame journey. In fact, it's a soulmate journey. There's unfinished business that needs to be cleared up, to be honest. With a woman who's married to a man who is no longer, let's put it that way, they've been in a celibate marriage for a while, which was true. And this divine masculine, who I had to call out a couple times, they're telling me to tell you what it was, so I'm going to tell you. So this divine masculine asked me if she had sex with other people. And of course, no, she hadn't, only him. And I said, and then I asked him, and so I'm that kind of psychic. Okay. I said, what about you? You've had sex with other women since you've broken up. He goes, yeah. I go, so why are you cracking her nuts for maybe perhaps having another man? Though honestly, she hasn't. But the point is, why is it that you're still standing on that very toxic patriarchal situation? Before you ever met this woman, she was sexually active, wasn't she? Yes, she was. Before you were ever incarnated, when you had past incarnation, you and her were sexually active with different partners, right? In past lives, correct? Yes. Okay, so stop cracking her nuts. Because at the end of the day, that's not going to make her worthy or unworthy, her having sex since you separate. It's none of your fucking business, to be honest with you. But has she? No. But you're asking the wrong questions. The right questions is, does she still love me? Does she still think of my... That's the right questions. Because you went and bopped around with a couple bimbos. Am I correct? Yes. Okay, good. Then back off. So I'm that reader. And I do that with women as well. Because I want you to realize that you're asking the wrong questions. You're asking egoic, entrenched questions. Egoic, entrenched. Does it hurt? Of course it hurts. I've been there. It's not pleasant to find out your twin flame or your high-level soulmate that you adore has probably been sexually active with someone else in your breakups. Of course it does. It's fucking massive triggering. But if you come to me with that kind of vulnerability, I will be very gentle with you because I get it. But in terms of trying to use that as an excuse not to continue pursuing or being with your high level soulmate or twin flame because they had sex with someone else, God forbid, after you broke up, like, yeah, about bullshit. That is where was your root chakra when you separate? And how many have you been with since you left or left her or whatever the fuck, right? So it's very important that we get very, very clear, because what happens with men, and I know this because I've done this thousands of times. I wish I could tell you I didn't hear this before. When I used to work with psychic source, I would have men trying to find that as an excuse. If I found that a woman had been sexually active with another man in the interim of her breaking up with that particular man who was maybe a high level soulmate, right? I would say that was the excuse they needed to drag her down from the pedestal she was on all the way down to the mud, to say, well, I don't want to have her anymore. She's been with another man. Really? Have you been with other? How many women have you been with since you left her? Oh, just it meant nothing. It was just 3. Well, maybe it meant nothing for her. Maybe she just was trying to contrast. Was this a one-off? It's very interesting. And men, your basic run-of-the-mill guy thinks like that. Why did I call this client just, a divine masculine? Because he's actually looking. He heard me without getting he got triggered. Let me not lie. He got triggered, but he still listened to what I was saying. He sat in silence, and I said, look, I'm not trying to piss you off. Like, I get that would hurt. But the irony is she hasn't fucked anyone else since she left you at all, okay? And there are women out there that won't do it. And there are women out there that will. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. But that does not discredit her feeling and her soul connection with you. And do not use it. It's totally ironic, Phoenix. It's bullshit. And it's this idea of men and their incredible obsession with the VIRGIN bullshit. It's sickening, actually. But it goes back to the ancient world when a man had to make sure that whatever progeny he produced from a woman had to be from his lineage, his bloodline. And it had a lot to do with survival. It had to. Because whoever inherited the crown, the land, the title, had to be most assuredly his progeny and not some other man's. So there was some aspect to it. And this is why, and this is the irony of ironies, you'll love this, and I've mentioned it a few lives, of course, is that there were women who would take a lover after they were pregnant. At the minute they realized they were pregnant, they would take a lover. And because now they knew, and every time they took a lover, they were always making sure they were pregnant with the man, their husband's seed. So it's interesting. But ultimately, men will ask that fucked up question. I can't tell you how many men have asked me, probably fucking hundreds and hundreds of times, at least 1,000 times. And is she with someone else? Is she still having sex with her husband? It's like, what the fuck? But is she this, that, and the other? And they want to know the answer to literally pin you to the cross and to sabotage what is really the truth, not who a woman is having sex with. Whether it's her, God forbid, it should be her own husband. Imagine that. But what they don't understand is that a woman like that who has been celibate in a marriage for like years, which is very common, trust me on that one, she's not going to go playing around at all. She's not wired like that. As a matter of fact, if her marriage was so great, the man would have had a shot in hell to get her into his bed, not a shot in fucking hell. So the marriage is dead. Okay, it's holding on by a thread. And there's a lot of reasons why women hold on to these marriages. It could be that it's not just the children, it's family dynamics, it's what will the neighbors say, it's community, it's losing that community. I can't tell you how many women become widows or divorce, and who literally lose the entire community turns their back on them. That is also very, very common, and it's actually illustrated in the Diary of Bridget Jones, which I love that. I thought it was the most funniest movie in the world. But in it, if you remember, she is looked at with some kind of resistance and some suspicion, because she's the most dangerous woman ever is a single woman. Constantly, right? So, and this is a real fact, women. Like, we as women need to realize that we are also instigating that reality. And you can't blame women for instigating that reality, because how many babysitters have bonked the husband, and it's to the point where, you know, it's a story that we've seen on the news with famous people. There's a famous actor who actually fucked up his marriage because he bonked the babysitter. Okay? So it's not like we don't know, but we as women have to raise girls with integrity. If he's married, it's a no. In other words, we have to raise women to know, young girls, because it starts at that level, that I understand he's attractive. I understand he's attractive. But if he's attracted to you, let me know, because it's not okay. I don't want you to put yourself in that position. Right? I want you to let me know, or make sure that you have like rules, like moral values. Yeah, it's called moral values. There are young men, and I'm not going to say about old men, but young men who are being raised really well, who they will not touch a married woman. They will not touch an underage girl. And these are good-looking young men. They could have the girl that's married. They could have the underage girl, but they won't do it. The people who will do it are men who were raised badly, who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and God forbid, yes, 70s. Okay. The fact that the kid is under is a plus. Okay. So let's be real. But we are getting wonderful young men who are being brought into this planet. I honestly, whoever was born in 1998 to now, you're fucking lucky. There's some kick-ass men coming through the pike. Okay. And just become that young woman, and you will attract, in that frequency match, you will attract that young man to you. You will not attract, what do they call them? Dusties, as, what's that chick that's called, that goes after men with money. She doesn't look too happy, does she? I forgot her name, but very beautiful African-American woman who has convinced women that, go for the money, fuck it. And, there's no spark in her eye. She's a beautiful woman, don't get me wrong, but there's no spark in her eyes. There's no spark in her. There's no glow in her skin. There's no, don't sell yourself short, okay? You're better off being on your own than to go after something that's not your match. And that goes with men too. Don't go for the okie doke either. You'll meet each other, but what I'm finding is that the level of self-esteem, the lack of self-esteem, the self-loathing, and there's degrees to self-loathing, okay? We all suffer from it to a degree of some kind or other. There's high level of self-loathing, which would drive a person to say to themselves, I'm better off not being around. People are better off without me here. You get what I'm saying? And there are people that have lower grades of self-loathing, but no matter how you slice it, you settle for fucking shit, okay? Or you decide cynically, you think it's a flex to be cynical. I don't believe in love. Love doesn't exist. And you get into the cynical bus of idiots, and you decide that love does not exist. That works out really well. I've seen people live like that, and they look like shit, and they've created absolutely nothing of value. I'm being honest. Because here's why they don't create shit of value. Because their root chakra is so fucking blocked, right, with fear. So it's almost like a fucking chastity belt. It's a spiritual chastity belt that men and women have put on their root chakra, which goes all the way up to chakras and hits the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is a lock. It's locked, and they don't know where the fucking key is. It's very interesting. So when you believe in love, because why wouldn't you believe in love? Everything on this planet and other planets were created by love and desire. Desire of loving energy, unconditional love. So why would you not believe in love? You know what I mean? I mean, animals love each other. How can you not believe in love? I mean, animals love each other. In fact, when an animal is mated to, it's mate, whether it's a blue jay or whatever, and I hope to God you've seen this, and it's sad to see, but I remember seeing a blue jay whose partner had been killed by a cat, and it was warning, it was yelling, it was screaming, it was mad, and it was grieving. I've seen elephants grieve their mates or baby elephant. Love is everywhere. So to think you're fucking smart and I'm logical and I don't believe love is an illusion, it's romance trash. Well, good luck, because animals apparently have more sense than you because they love. I don't believe love is an illusion, it's romance trash. Well, good luck, because animals apparently have more sense than you because they love. And they love unconditionally, and they take every moment with the nectar that love gives them. In other words, they don't know if it's going to last or not. They don't know. Just like you don't know. Does that make sense? So, going back to the Esoteric Book Club. So, in the beginning, the first book is Recall, my book, honestly. And then only because it's about twin flames, erotica, this, that, and the other, it's going to trigger the fuck out of you. It should, hopefully. And then we're going to go right into, and so here's why you're here. Here's why I'm here. So I was thinking the second book could be, and many of you may have read these books, or maybe you've heard me talk about it, but you've never read it, and it would be really cool for you to read it. And it's going to be a vote. So I did put together a list: Journey of Soul by Michael Newton, or The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. I thought that would be more important than The Untethered Soul for many reasons, because his whole premise in The Surrender Experiment, which I think is brilliant, is there are two things happening. One, the monkey mind is making him fucking go crazy. So he starts actually studying why this second thought in his head that is literally whipping the shit out of him, like how can he control that internal dialogue that's just like nasty? And so he gets into meditation. And the second premise is how he surrenders, is that whenever the monkey mind says, no, don't do it, he does it. And because of that, he ends up becoming a billionaire. In other words, he didn't give a fuck about the money at all. In fact, he never chased money. What he chased was, well, he didn't chase shit, actually. If you read the book, you'll understand. He did things against, like if people asked him for help on X, Y, and Z, he would say yes. I don't want to give the book away. He would say yes, so his monkey mind was saying no. And he did fall into saying yes to things that interested him passionately. He wanted to learn this, that, and the other. And because he did it, I swear to God, he becomes a fucking multi-billionaire. I don't want to give the book away. What else did I put on the list? I forgot actually. There was a Journey of Souls, Destiny of Soul. Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. I did put The Untethered Soul, but I wouldn't want to read that first, to be honest, because I'd rather read The Surrender Experiment first with all of you. I've read it like 5 or 6 times, but read that and then read The Untethered Soul, because of what I know is in The Surrender Experiment. And again, I don't want to give it away. And for me, The Surrender Experiment is what I call a primer. Remember, you had a primer to learn how to read? When you first learned, you had a primer? Okay, this is a primer for a person going out of 3D consciousness into 4D. Does that make sense? It's a fantastic book, and it's perfect for the masculine consciousness of I'll see it if I believe it. You know, that kind of attitude. You know, that kind of bullshit that gets people nowhere. So for me, that would be a great book to go second. The Gnostic Gospels, I think, would be also an interesting book, because it's about, we could read it in like probably 3 weeks. It's like 148 pages. And it's about Mary Magdalena and Yeshua and the 12 apostles and how the Catholic religion was established. And the reason why that would be, it's a good tie-in to my book Recall when you read chapter 1, where I'm talking about, religious dogma, okay? So it would be a good tie-in to go into that. Why would that be important? Well, because many of you were raised under the Judeo-Christian dogma, not just in this incarnation, but in multiple incarnations when you were incarnating into the Western world for the last 2,000 years. Sure, you were Muslim in other incarnations. Sure, you were Jewish in other incarnations, and Buddhist, and Wicca, and Druidic, and Native American, and all of that. But many of us who have returned to the Western ideal, if you will, of that, that still reverberates within us. Are we still kind of connecting to the ancient wisdoms of the Druids and their connection with the earth and the sky and the tree spirit and eagle spirit and wolf spirit and deer spirit? Very similar. In fact, damn near verbatim to the Native Americans across the, the North Americas. So I don't know, and this is why I'm going to be putting books in front of you going, what do you guys think? And if no one can make a decision, like seriously, then I'll make the decision. But at first, I'd like it to be a round table thing. The meetings will be on Zoom. You can be in your skivvies. I don't give a shit. No one's going to fucking have the camera on. Or if you do, great. No one cares. And we'll hash it out for about no more than 90 minutes, and we can meet once a week. We can meet every 2 weeks. Personally, me, I think some of you won't make it every time. That's fine. We can meet every 2 weeks. Personally, me, I think some of you won't make it every time. That's fine. We may record, we may not. It's really up to you. We're going to be voting. We're co-creating this community because we want Gnostic Gospel so good for Twin Flames with Yeshua and Mary. I agree with that. Rachel. I think, and it's a quick read. It's such a quick read. It's like simple. Most of the books I'm going to tell you are on Audible, but I would recommend that you buy a hard copy on many of the important books that I own. I own the Audible version and the print version because I want, I want to underline this, that, and the other. And some of these books are going to activate your brain. In other words, some of the dead cells in our brains, we only use 15% of our brains. For us to get to the level of ascension, we need to activate at least I'd say 25-30% of our brain. And it's going to happen. Trust me. I keep thinking of the Battle of Kurukshetra, and I always mention that. And what is his name? Arjuna is on the battlefield with Krishna, the personification of God, and how he opens the funnel of his mind, and he sees the Big Bang, the making of planets, and he sees the Akashic records unfolding, every thought, memory, desire, destruction, birth, rebirth. And he sees it in a whoosh, and then his funnel in his brain closes, and he realizes that what he's standing in front of is the embodiment of God in a human form, which I'm going on a tangent for a minute, and bear with me. And it reminds me of Anne Rice, God bless her soul, who actually taught us what vampires were all about. She took a very simple story and then turned Dracula, if you remember, and created a whole myth, a brand new mythology on vampires, which was very interesting because it's the idea of somebody not dying for 400 or 500 years. And she came up with some psychological interest to me on how a human being that is immortal in the same body would have a problem going from one age to another, and that vampires would actually make a vampire from a person of the new age that they could not connect to. Does that make sense? So imagine you were made as a vampire in Rome 2,000 years ago. Okay, you're going to be able to bop around for a couple hundred years, but after that, you're going to hit a wall. Now it's 15th century Spain, for example, and you're like, if you don't make a vampire that's going from a human being from the 15th century, you're not going to be able to assimilate into this new age. If you've never read her books, you should read them. They're amazing. One of the interesting books she had that I thought was fascinating was called Memnoch the Devil. And it's a conversation between him and Memnoch, Lestat, meaning Lestat. But anyway, she passed. I didn't even know she passed, but she passed, I guess, a few years ago. And she was quite an interesting force. Because when her books were coming out, right? I lived in San Francisco. I was 20-something years old. I think I was 22 or 23. And I remember damn near everyone on the metro was reading her books. I kid you not. Fucking everyone. So today they're my age. Okay? And there was something about, even some fictional books will actually activate something. For some, it activates and it goes back to dormancy. For the purpose of the ascension, of course, I've brought up these books for the hell of it, but what I'm saying to you is if you like fiction, her books are immaculate. The other book that might actually activate you on a fictional level, which we're not doing fictions this year, but we may on the side do our own dealing with fiction. One of them is called The Mists of Avalon, which is amazing. It's based on the point of view of Morgana through the Arthur's Round Table, and how she was bastardized, very similar to how Lilith was bastardized as the first wife of Adam. You know what I mean? So this agenda to bastardize the divine feminine has been ongoing for quite some time. And I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing. And when you think about you being a woman today, and in past incarnations you were a man, and to think the idea that you might have been one of these assholes that actually bastardized women, it's no wonder some of us are coming in to right the wrongs. Does that make sense? It's kind of funny, actually. Mist of Avalon, yeah, I love that movie too. I mean, that movie, good luck in finding the movie. It's fucking near impossible, and I'm not sure why. Not okay. So that's where we're at. So if you want to invite, we have one of my clients is a divine masculine who's joined our group. He may not join us for the recall, to be quite honest with you. I told him that's fine. But we are going to, he'll probably join us in other books. I'm not going to force you to read Recall if you're a guy at all. I'm not going to force anyone to read Recall. My twin read Recall from cover to cover, and he knew. He actually finished the book and looked at me and said, I was Creo. And I went, yes. He knew immediately. Like, I didn't have to say shit. I never said to him what the book was about, really. And it was interesting, you know what I mean? That he knew. He recognized himself. So, for any of you that are on the twin flame journey, twin ray, you're in good, you're in good hands because you're in a twin ray journey with your beautiful twin ray. That is also going to share with you what you had to heal and let go, purge, let go, recalibrate, reset yourself. To where you are today, because twin rays are the only example I can give you that's something that you can relate to, I hope, is Yeshua and Mary Magdalena as the twin ray couple, the power couple. So I'm getting someone right now sending me signs on Telegram right now saying I would love to read the Gnostic Gospel, and I agree with her, honestly, because it's going to be a quick read after that. And everything that a woman created was taken. Everything. From the oracles of Delphi, when they started being controlled by the toxic patriarchy, supported by the toxic matriarchy. It takes two to tango, my friends. Okay? And again, one of the reasons why I feel it's so important to remind yourself that you have been males before is to remind yourself that you have been males before. And you weren't always fucking smelling like a rose. And most of the things that you are disgusted by in the toxic masculine, unfortunately, you did. You may remember it, you may not. I cannot stand women. I'm going to be straight up. I've never been a man. I'm just too feminine. I hate that shit. That is so weak to me. It's like bullshit. You've been, in fact, most likely, you've been probably one of the worst men. That's why you've hidden yourself under the cloak of delusion that you're so feminine you could have never been a man before. That right there is a red flag to me. That this is a toxic person who calls themselves a spiritualist. That's not it. A spiritualist is a person that says, I don't remember, but I know that it's a numbers game, and as I was good, I was also dark, and I'm just hoping to. I just want to forgive myself. Whatever I shouldn't hold on to, please let me just release it now. I release it now because I'm no longer whatever I was in the past. I release it now with absolute forgiveness to myself and to others, and I am now creating a new frequency in the match for the highest good of myself and those around me and beyond, for the collective. That's the best thing you could probably do. But don't put yourself on a pedestal. Because I've heard people say, I'm in 5D. I'm like, well, in that case, you and I wouldn't be talking. We're coming to 5D. We're walking towards 5D. But people who say, I'm fully healed, if you're fully healed, you would not be here. Fully. You wouldn't be able to match this frequency unless you anchored yourself here to heal others by your presence. And you wouldn't have said anything to me, I'm most likely, at all, because it would be too much of a powerful mission, responsibility, that you would never bring that attention to yourself in any way. Do you understand? People who really are that shit don't talk about it at all. They just do it. You understand? So I can't tell you how many women have told me they are the incarnation of Mary Magdalena. The incarnation, not a fractal piece of Mary Magdalena. Now that I agree. Many of us are fractals of Mary Magdalena and Yeshua. We are the lions returned. As I said that in 2023, I was talking about we are the lions. You know, I came as a lamb, I will return as a lion, right? Well, we are the fractals. Exactly, Rachel, absolutely. And so fractals, okay, you got me now. Now I'm like with you. Now I'm walking beside you, sister, brother. But when you tell me you are Yeshua, I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't even want to hear you. Like, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you lost me at I'm Yeshua. You lost me at, like, nothing else can you say. Because, first of all, if you were Yeshua, you wouldn't even talk about it. Because you would know that what's important isn't to toot your own horn. In fact, you would be turned off by tooting your own horn. You'd be interested in the great work. And we all have our roles, my friends. I have my role. You have your role. We all have our roles. And the roles of the great, great masters, they don't talk to us on that level. They don't talk to, in fact, some of them don't talk to us at all. In fact, some of the great masters walking the planet right now are sending us telepathically the light codes for us to be their throat chakra to speak these things. If anything, many of us are going to be their conduit. Does that make sense? And so you've got people like Deepak Chopra. You've got people like Louise Hay, God bless her soul, who lived a long time on this planet in service to humanity. And then we have other people. And everyone, you have to understand, in the human experience of these 3D brains, these clunky little fucking brains that create, that, you know, where we have to deal with this corrupted little monkey mind that we constantly have to fight. Constantly. Let's be honest. Constantly. This is why I'm chanting. Constantly. I'm constantly chanting. The minute my monkey mind says anything, I'm like, boom. I'm chanting right off the bat. Immediately. Like, that motherfucker is not going to win. Fuck that. Okay? So I work on myself constantly. And if you look at some of the great Buddhist monks, you'll see monks and nuns, they're constantly chanting. They're opening portals, they're going within, they're astral traveling, they're coming back, they're sitting in snow, sometimes naked, to show and to overcome their bodies. You know, like they're controlling their bodies through, like I said, I said earlier, people going into surgery with absolutely no anesthesia. And I mean, serious fucking surgery. I'm not talking about, you know, an in-house doctor's office shit. I'm talking about serious fucking shit with no anesthesia. It's been documented again and again. That's some massive mind control. So we are all capable of these wonderful gifts, if you will, you know, skill sets. And so the reason for the Esoteric Book Club is to share with each other our own magical stories of, you know, or what we saw or what we dreamed after reading a particular chapter or the entire book. Like, what happened? Like, what was the download? What happened next? Like, and when you hear people's miraculous stories of their journey as they're going through self-realization by sharing these incredible books with, you know, a group like this, it's going to inspire you to keep going, to not feel lonely. Communities are built. They don't just fucking appear quite often, sadly. You know? Every community from 10,000 years ago to today have been created by a soul or two souls or 5 souls or 10 souls that got together and said, yeah, let's build here. Let's do this. Let's do that. It doesn't just make itself. Healing doesn't just appear. There are people that are really wrong in telling you it's all within you. Yes, it's all within you, but it's not. But so what if you're not pulling it out of your, to understand yourself? If you don't even know where to start, it's like saying to a teenage kid whose room is a fucking mess. We're talking about a mess. Pizza boxes, shit all over the fucking corner. You can't even see the floor. It's like telling a kid, well, this is your room. Go ahead and start healing this room. Go ahead and start cleaning up the clutter. They get overwhelmed. It's no different. So though it's all in you, the purpose of reading books is very similar to a parent saying to the kid, just start on the left side. Forget the rest. Don't even look back. Here's some trash bags. And here's a box for all the shit you want. Here's trash bags for all the shit you don't want. You start out with the left side of the room. Don't fucking look behind you. Here, let's put on some music. High frequency music. Relax. Take a break for lunch. In other words, of course it's within you. But if you have no direction, where the fuck are you going? And if it was that simple that it's within you, we'd all be fucking not here in this shit show called planet Earth. We'd all be kumbayaing in 5D, happy as fuck, because it's all within us. And we don't need anyone outside help. And the outside help is from people who sat and thought and downloaded knowledge as conduits to help you and me to wake the fuck up. Does that make sense? So the arrogance of some content creators saying, oh, it's all within you, you'll get it. And meanwhile, people are taking their own lives. People are going deeper into addictions. People are feeling stupid because even though they know it's within them, they can't seem to find the exit door to anything. Yeah, good luck. It's all within you. And this is why you read esoteric books. This is why you listen to esoteric books. This is why you're doing your dishes, you're taking a shower, you're going to the gym, and you're listening to an esoteric book. Any questions or comments? I'm losing my audience. I see that. It's interesting when you tell people they need to fucking work to ascend. How people just fucking bail. This is when I know. There's 144,000 of us. There's absolutely no doubt. At any given time, when one of us dies, another one wakes up and joins the fold. Trust me. 144. There's no doubt in my mind. If I was teaching you a dance, putting on my makeup, teaching you how to contour my face, right now I would have, this is not a put down to me at all. I'm not pissed. I don't give a fuck. It just confirms to me what I know. I'd probably have 80 chicks or 800 chicks with 1.2 million likes. That's the reality of what we're living. So you're not alone. Eckhart Tolle said that sometimes he would do speaking engagements and there would be no one in the fucking room. No one. Okay? Or there'd be two people in the room. Okay? The book, his manuscript, landed in the lap of apparently an editor that was looking for what he was fucking offering. I would rather master my mind than my face paint. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I'm not putting down that you want to have a beautiful face and learn how to put on fake lashes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but I'm saying it's interesting the contrast, right? It's interesting how there's a particular French I'm following him because he's French, so I'm trying to get my algorithm more into France and all kinds of French shit. But right now for a reason. But and he's 19 years old and he's a celebrity for dancing. The same dances, different outfits, different rooms, metro stations, putting on makeup, shit like that. And he's a cute kid. Don't get me wrong, but wow, the consciousness of people is kind of, so if you feel lonely and you feel like you're the odd duck, the ugly duckling, you're going to be a swan, that, right? But you're the ugly duckling right now. If you feel like the ugly duckling, welcome to the club, my friend, because that's why. Because while you want to actually have these wonderful, deep, intense conversations about the nature of reality and what does the ascension mean and reincarnation, most of your friends and most of the office you work in or the building you work in, they want to know about the new dance move. Is crypto going to go up? and they want to know anything else but what you fucking want to know. So you're in good. So you, my little ugly duckling, you're about to become a beautiful swan. Meanwhile, the delusions of the average person is going to be fed by the matrix. And the matrix is always ready to feed the voracious hunger of people who don't want to think. And they want to drown out the monkey voice in their mind with delusions, illusions, distractions, activities, purchases, just bullshit. And one day, when people wake up, the average person, they'll go, I don't understand. I bought the house of my dreams. I'm still unhappy. Smart people will actually, spiritually smart, I should add, will realize, my God, but I'm still empty. And they'll start asking the right spiritual questions. This is why you go through a massive breakup with your twin. Because if you were in your cuddle bug, making love the whole weekend, eating and effing and having fun, you would not be asking these deep spiritual questions at all. You'd be blissed out. And we can be, and we will be blissed out in 5D, 6D, this planet, other planets. But for us to come out of the loop of the dharmic wheel of karma, right? For us to blow karma out of our realm that has been ankling. I mean, we've got like literally fucking ankle monitors around our fucking ankles for fucking centuries. Because, right? Because we did not know, first of all, how to see our shadows, to forgive ourselves, and most importantly, to forgive others and to loop that back to us. I forgive you, I forgive myself. I forgive you, I forgive myself. And I release this energy across all timelines, dimensions, planets, from past, future, and present, with gratitude. Whoosh, gone. We haven't, and we're learning how to do that. So we will no longer ever be a match, a frequency match to 3D. Never again. It's not good enough to say, I'll never come back here. No, you cannot be a frequency match. You won't even have, it doesn't even matter if you want to come here unless you volunteer. And they look at you going, okay, well, you want to come back to do what? Well, I want to help my ancestors from this life, past lives, and future incarnations. I want to kind of like, do X, Y, and Z. And at that point, you will be allowed to volunteer, and you'll be like, those deep sea divers. Do you know what I'm saying by deep sea divers? They're the ones that have the huge masks that are around their head and these huge, like astronaut-like weights. And you're weighed down into the ocean so that you can't float up. Okay. It would be something akin to that, to then volunteer to come back. Remember, Yeshua came back, was trained by the 3 wise men, right? When he came of age, at different levels of his age. I'm saying that. I haven't read that, but that's what I'm ascertaining from what I've put together. And he was able to make water into wine and heal the sick with a touch and make a blind man see. Because he was not entrenched by the illusion that this is not logical, this is not possible. Everything was possible. And when however his life ended, if it ended the way we were told, let's be honest, the Shroud of Turin can really make you question a lot of shit, if you ever study that, you'll realize that the end result, some of it, and again, I might be pulled for saying that, but I'm going to say it, was not fully the truth. However, with Pontius Pilate, his letter to Seneca, we know that even Pontius Pilate knew that this was wrong. Whatever they were planning. It was wrong. He knew it. His wife knew it. In fact, they were terrified. They were like almost begging. So there's massive, dark, nefarious, karmic loops that no longer matter, to be honest. In other words, we have been brainwashed to keep ourselves asking what really happened, when really what we know is that they buried alive Mary Magdalena. They separated the divine couple before our eyes. Popes knew it. The Vatican knows it. Every theologian knows it for a fact, what happened, how a lot of shit was rewritten by Constantine. And there's no argument. So when you have little guys like Wes Huff, who's a biblical scholar, saying his shit, we know that he has his own agenda. What that is, I don't give a shit. But what we do need to know is that we need to be good enough unto ourselves to believe in God, God light, the creator, the all, the unconditional loving energy that created you, me, all of us, and more. And realize that we deserve to see and to breathe and to inhale the perfume of that creator once again. That's all we really need to know. And the act of feeling worthy of that is the work. Forgiving the self, feeling worthy of that, and going forward. That's it. So the Esoteric Book Club, as you can probably tell from my conversation, isn't just let's hash out a fucking book. Right? It's about how do we get reprogrammed to rise into our highest level of conscious awakening. That's really what it's about. Doesn't matter if today you're incarnated as a man and I'm a woman. What matters is what is blocking our root chakra. What is making you afraid to love? Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Beth. It's good to see you. Beth, my beautiful sister, who I adore. What is, do you understand what is blocking? Because the epicenter of the beginning of your evolution is in the root chakra. And when others own your root chakra and you don't own it in multiple ways, which I've discussed yesterday and the day before, you can look at my YouTube videos on that, on the sacred masculine, on the toxic masculine. And I was pretty rough, not just on the masculine, but on the women raising these masculines. Hello? And so the root chakra starts there. You must own your root chakra. I can't own it. No one should ever own it except you. It is the jewel to your crown chakra. It is the foundation of everything. And if your crown chakra is solid, then for your root, your crown chakra to remain solid, your crown chakra needs to constantly be empowered, clean, cleansed, and recharged. Because the upper chakras cannot, and I have a whole video on that. I did a video called why, I think it's called, it's a black man and woman with white hair. You'll see it under, I think, Guided Meditations. And I explain why the root chakra is the most important foundational piece of your ascension journey. And I can't tell you how many Hindus, why am I saying Hindus? Well, because they brought us through the Vedic tradition, right? Chakras, meditation, yoga, pranayama, things of that nature, right? And Sanskrit through the mantras, right? Okay, so but those were the beings who lived 10,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago, right? And so when we go and understand our root chakra, which I'm going to be honest, it's been bastardized because most of my Hindu clients, I had to reteach them how to work on their chakras. I'm not kidding. And you went, well, you're appropriating someone else's. I was Hindu. I've been Hindu many times. I've been African many times. I've been Norwegian many times. I've been a lot of things many times, as you have. I'm not appropriating anything. I'm remembering. So let's go back to me teaching them. I've had to tell them, you don't just do your upper chakras, which is the heart chakra and upwards, because the whole thing collapses again and again and again. It's like building a tower on top of sand. It's not going to stay up at all, not for long. Eventually collapses. It's that kind of common sense that somehow got diluted through time. I don't know how it happened. I really don't. But it did. So root chakra work. If you've had some kind of essayed abuse, you need to be honest about it. You need to heal that shit. And you need to move into purging, clearing, recharging your root chakra. Okay? I've been working on my root chakra for all my chakras. Don't ever use, when people say you need to work on your solar plexus. Yeah, don't just do that, okay? Work on all your chakras, you hit your solar plexus, and you work on that a little bit longer. What does that mean? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 50 minutes? I don't know. You're the boss of your chakras. But you don't work on just, today I'll just work on my solar no, don't do that. Today I'm just going to work on my heart chakra. Do not do that. Work on all your chakras and then concentrate on the chakras you feel have deficit, who need clearing. It's like changing the oil of your car. Today you're putting gas in your car. Tomorrow you're changing oil in your car, or adding oil, or adding water. Does that make sense? You decide. You have to pick up on that. But you do not do one or the other. If you do not put oil in your car at some point, you're going to blow your engine. And you know that. It's very similar. And again, it's been a while since I've told you this story, so I'm going to tell you this story. When I lived in Malibu during COVID lockdown in 2020, it would have been actually around March in Malibu. So in Pasadena was a guy that owned this metaphysical store. He wanted me to do a reading. I don't know how the fuck he got away with doing this, but anyway, he did a fair of readers and this and that, and I was one of the people he wanted to work with. So I went up there. I drove up there. And there was a guy, it was really cool, a guy who could read chakras. You would put the palm of your hand on a scanner, and it would scan your chakras, and it would show you, it would have like a human figure, right? Just a line drawing of a human figure, and it would show you all the chakras in the appropriate colors, orange, red, red, orange, and so on. And he did my chakras, and because he wanted to do a reading, so we did a trade. And he spat out, he printed out he went, holy fuck. And I was like, he says, your chakras are perfectly aligned. And I was like, okay. I thought he was full of shit, to be honest with you. We had just started the fair. I was the first person who he had, done this with. But as the day progressed, I started seeing people with their little, 8x11 sheet of paper with the print. And I saw people where the root chakra, the whole page was red, which was a massive red flag. Some chakras, in fact, I had people coming in to do readings with me, and they had their little scanners they'd done. And some chakras were gone. Some chakras were left. Some chakras were right. In other words, it looked like an out-of-sync spinal cord, as if the discs were left, right, all over the place, or non-existent. And that's when I realized something. There were two things that were going for me. Well, one, I was running and chanting on the ocean, on the beach every morning at 7:15, 7:30 in the morning with my twin. I was by a massive body of water, number one. Number two, I was work on my chakras twice a day. Every fucking day. I would work on I still do, actually. And I was so connected that my chakras were in perfect size, perfect alignment. It wasn't that I was walking on water. It's not that I'm so much fucking advanced than you. It's that I was doing the work. If I vacuum my carpet, it's clean. If I don't, it's not. It's really that simple. It's not extraordinary. It's not mind-blowing. It's not, oh my God. It's not. It's as simple as if I wash my right armpit every day and nothing else, I'm going to stink. If I wash my whole body every day, I'm going to smell good. I was working on my chakras every day, and the result was actually provable. They scanned my palm, and there was the result on the screen, printed out for me to view. That was that. So what's interesting about energy work, which is I'm going to consider calling it that, right? It's energy work, is that when you do energy work, you will not, quote unquote, see it, but you will actually benefit from it. And in some ways, you will be able to see it because magic will occur. Magic. In this case, it was provable. Does that make sense? It was completely in Technicolor what I had achieved from just showing up for myself. Period. Me. And so what I'm asking you to do is to stop being cynical and to stop thinking that because you can't see it, that doesn't mean it exists. Energy work will never be something that you can see 24/7. However, over time you will see the results. Just like over time you could see the results of depression. Over time you can see the results of grieving. Over time you will see the results of that. Over time you can see the results of, the positive aspects. Meditating, visualizing, manifesting, you'll see the results. It may take years. It may take 1 year, 2 years. You have to also understand divine timing. That's one aspect. But to be honest, I'm really more into the consciousness of realizing that manifesting immediately is more my goal now. In the immediate. Okay? If that makes sense. All right. So let me go ahead and any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? At all? Any questions or comments? Just trying to figure it out. No? Okay, good. So if anybody wants to join the Esoteric Book Club, go on my link tree, on my profile page, join that on Telegram, then say, hey, I want to be part of the book club, and I will add you. The first book is Recall, and after that, we'll hash out what's the next book. All right? All right, anything else? Anything else? No? Okay, great. Sending you much love on your journey. I'll talk to you soon. I'll upload this video on YouTube. Namaste.